My pregnant wife went bungee jumping with her ex-boyfriend and had a miscarriage. Now she's in a coma, a vegetable, but her soul has been following me around ever since. Her ex, Leo, washed his hands of the whole thing. She's your wife, not mine. You're the one who couldn't control her. What's it got to do with me if she went bungee jumping while pregnant? Later, after she woke up, that same piece of shit would look at her with tears in his eyes and say, "Babe, you're finally awake." All my sleepless nights finally paid off. When the call from the hospital came, my world went into a free fall. Ava had miscarried. She was in a coma. When I got there, the doctor told me the baby was already 5 months along, fully formed. A tragedy, he said. Your wife was 5 months pregnant. How could you let her go bungee jumping? Are you kidding me? He asked, his voice a mix of disbelief and accusation. I looked at Ava lying in the ICU, a tangle of tubes and wires sprouting from her body, and sighed. The doctor said the jump had caused a massive hemorrhage, leading to severe oxygen deprivation in her brain. Best case scenario, she'd be a vegetable for the rest of her life. Ava's first love, Leo Vance, stood up from his chair, his mouth twitching. He shot a disgusted look at Ava's still form. Oh, you're here. Guess I can leave now. You're her husband. You take care of her. My vision narrowed. I grabbed him by the collar. Leo, are you even human? She was with you when this happened. A sick, ugly smile spread across his face. She's your wife, Ethan, not mine. Did I force her? She followed me around like a lost puppy, begging me to go. What was I supposed to do? Who cares about some desperate woman who can't take a hint? My jaw trembled. I glanced back at Ava. If she could hear this, would she still have been so determined to go with him? I forced myself to calm down, my voice low and tight. Ava has loved you for years. I was going to divorce her to let you two be together. But now, the doctor said love and encouragement could help. If you're here, maybe she has a chance of getting better. She lost the baby for you. Leo's face contorted with disgust. Was it my kid? What does a miscarriage have to do with me? You want me to take care of a vegetable who's no different from a corpse? Dream on. That's a waste of my time. Ethan, you're her husband. You're the one who should be by her side. With that, he turned and walked out. And then, I felt a sudden chill, a cold draft in the sterile air. I turned my head. Ava was standing right next to me, her eyes burning with disappointment and fury. I was stunned. Ava was lying on the bed, so how could she be standing beside me? Her form seemed translucent, shimmering slightly. Was she floating? A ghost? Her soul? I said nothing. Good, I thought. Let her see the real Leo for herself. I pulled the folded papers from my jacket pocket. The divorce agreement I'd printed out just yesterday. I scanned one last time. I was giving her everything, walking away with nothing. As long as I could be free, I didn't care. Ava's soul saw the papers. She frowned, a cold sneer on her ethereal face. Well, Ethan, you must be happy. Instead of a divorce, you get to be a widower. You must have been praying for this day, right? But in the next second, she froze. Because right there in front of her ghostly form, I tore the divorce agreement to shreds. Then I walked back to the hospital bed and spoke to Ava's comatose body, my voice steady. Ava, I was ready to divorce you. Because you didn't love me anymore, because of the humiliation you put me through. But you're sick now. You need someone to take care of you. I can't leave you like this. The day you get better will be the day I walk away. Ava's soul drifted around me, her expression unreadable, her eyes flickering with a storm of emotions I couldn't begin to name. When I first found out Ava was pregnant, I was ecstatic. I imagined our child, our family, a happy life together. But the moment Leo Vance came back into the picture, that beautiful dream shattered. At 2 months pregnant, she secretly drove through a snowstorm to pick him up from the airport. When she got out of the car, she slipped on a patch of ice and fell. She started bleeding right there on the curb. I rushed to the hospital, only to find her locked in a deep embrace with Leo. When Ava saw me, her voice was flat. I fell. Leo brought me to the hospital. When I needed you most, you weren't here. How ironic. Leo just smiled. Good thing it wasn't serious. Otherwise, I would have missed my chance to be the godfather. Rage boiled over. I threw a punch, catching Leo square on the jaw. Ava went ballistic. She shoved me away, screaming, Ethan, you get on your knees and apologize to Leo right now. You don't even know what happened, and you just start hitting people? What happened to you? This isn't the Ethan I know. Apologize, or I'm calling the cops. I pulled out my phone and held it out to her. Go ahead, I said, my voice dangerously quiet. Call them. You want me to apologize to him? I'll die first. Ava stared at me, her eyes wide with disbelief. But she snatched the phone from my hand and dialed 911. They took me away. I spent the night in a holding cell at the local precinct, completely numb. I thought about the good times with Ava, about the baby in her womb. I just couldn't understand why she'd changed so completely the second Leo returned. The next morning, they let me out. Leo and Ava were standing by the entrance, smug grins on their faces. Ava sneered. If it weren't for Leo deciding not to press charges, you'd be in there a lot longer. Aren't you going to thank him? I ignored them both and started walking away. I could hear Ava yelling insults behind me, but I didn't turn back. If it wasn't for the baby, I would have slapped the sense back into her. But while I cared about her child, she clearly didn't. That very night, she went clubbing with Leo. I was seething when I got the call. Ava was drunk and had started a brawl, knocking a couple of guys to the floor. When I got there, her clothes were disheveled and she reeked of alcohol. These guys were trying to hit on me, she slurred with disgust. So gross. One of the guys on the floor held his head. You crazy bitch, who was hitting on you? All I said was your pretty boyfriend was a freeloader, making a woman pay for his drinks. And for that, you attack us? What the hell is wrong with you? Ava shrieked. You can't talk about him like that. Leo is not a freeloader. Anyone who says that is asking for it. The man saw me and sneered. Oh, so that guy's the side piece. I get it now. You got a husband and a family, and you're still out here acting like trash. Pathetic. Ava's face twisted in rage. She grabbed a beer bottle to smash over his head, but I caught her arm just in time. Suddenly, she started looking around frantically as if she'd lost something. Leo was nowhere in sight. After a frantic search, we found him hiding in the men's room. When he saw Ava, he scurried behind her like a frightened child. Is it over? Those guys were horrible, so rude. Ava's voice softened instantly. She stroked his hair. It's okay, they won't touch you. I'm a woman, and a pregnant one at that. They wouldn't dare. I was speechless. She knew she was pregnant, yet she was out clubbing, drinking, and getting into fights. Was Leo really that important to her? Seeing the thunderous look on my face, Ava said dismissively, What's with the long face? Can't you stop being so petty? I'm just helping him check things off his list. Our bucket list. All the things we didn't get to do before he left the country. Looking at my drunk, belligerent wife for the first time, 3 words escaped my lips. Let's get divorced. Ava froze, staring at me in disbelief. Then she let out a cold, sharp laugh. Fine. Divorce me. You're sure you don't want the baby? Because I'll schedule the abortion tomorrow. And I'll tell my mother it was you who wanted the divorce. It'll all be on you. My jaw tightened. I couldn't believe she'd use our child to threaten me. I was an orphan. Her mother had been unbelievably kind to me. She'd sponsor me through college and gave me a job at her company when I graduated. In the end, she even gave me her daughter's hand in marriage. I owed her everything. She told me countless times that Ava was stubborn and had a temper, and that I needed to be patient with her. I thought of her mother's kind, gentle smile, and the fire for divorce inside me died down. Seeing my silence, Ava smirked triumphantly and left with Leo. From that day on, they tested my limits again and again, all to complete their damn bucket list. Watching sunrises and sunsets together, shopping trips, clubbing, swimming at the beach. I reminded Ava so many times that she was pregnant, that she couldn't do anything strenuous. She would just wave me off. Stop telling me what to do. You're so annoying. Petty men are the most disgusting. Then she'd add with a sneer, Are you still trying to find proof that I'm cheating so you can divorce me? Go ahead, look all you want. I'm a pregnant woman. How could I possibly betray you? You loser. Until she went bungee jumping with Leo, miscarried, and fell into a coma. And now her soul was here, hovering around me. When Ava's soul saw me rip up the divorce papers, she trembled, the light in her ghostly eyes flickering. But then the doctor brought in another lab report, and her world seemed to crumble all over again. I held up the report silent. The baby boy Ava had miscarried, according to the DNA test, was not biologically mine. I clenched the paper in my fist, my emotions a raging sea. Beside me, Ava's soul was talking to herself, her voice a faint whisper. Ethan, I didn't cheat on you. I was just trying to check things off Leo's bucket list. He once said he wanted a child that was ours. So before he came back, I went to the clinic. I used the embryo we had stored years ago, and I had the procedure done. I listened to her soul's confession, but my heart was a stone. A woman so desperate to fulfill her first love's so-called bucket list. Even if she hadn't physically cheated, she had betrayed our marriage, our trust, every moral code there was. It was like God himself couldn't stand to watch anymore and intervened, making her miscarry, putting her in this coma. Suddenly, her disembodied voice rose in anger. Why aren't you saying anything? Yell at me. Hit me. Why won't you say a single word? You coward. Are you even a man? I acted as if I hadn't heard a thing. I took a deep breath, and I ripped that lab report to shreds too. Ava froze. Her soul circled me, a whirlwind of anger and, "Was that pride? I know you love me most," she whispered. "You'll forgive me, won't you?" I said nothing. My mother-in-law rushed to the hospital. When she saw Ava and heard from the doctor what had happened, she broke down sobbing, her grief quickly turning to fury. She turned to me, her voice trembling. "Ethan, Ava has wronged you. I approve. You two should get a divorce." Ava's soul froze midair. "Mom, why are you telling us to get a divorce? I thought you loved Ethan," she cried out, but her mother couldn't hear. My mother-in-law looked at me, her expression firm. "I know you've suffered these past few years. Ava's father died when she was young, and I spoiled her rotten. I thought marriage would help her mature, but now, to find out the baby wasn't even yours. I never wanted you to divorce, but I see things clearly now." Ava's soul drifted around the room in a panic. "No, I don't want a divorce. I'm not dead yet. How can you make this decision for me? Are you crazy?" Then her ghostly eyes fixed on me, a cold smile on her face. "My mom was the only thing stopping you. Now that she agrees, you finally get what you want. All the talk about loving me forever was just a joke, wasn't it? You pathetic coward." But I looked at her mother and said quietly, "Mom, I don't want a divorce right now. Ava needs me. I can't just walk away. This isn't about being noble. I'm her husband in the eyes of the law. I have to take care of her. When she wakes up, then I'll leave." My mother-in-law and Ava's soul stared at me, their eyes wide with disbelief. Ava's ghost narrowed her eyes, her voice dripping with suspicion. "Impossible. You're up to something. You're after my family's money, aren't you?" Her mother just looked at me with a complex mix of emotions. "You've been through too much, son. Whatever you decide, I'll understand and support you. Whether you stay married to Ava or not, you will always be my son." In the days that followed, I cared for Ava meticulously. I'd sit by her bed and tell her stories of our happy memories, doing everything I could to bring her back. The families of other patients praised me, calling me the husband of the century, a man of true character and responsibility. Ava's soul followed me everywhere. She watched as I wore myself down to the bone, watched as streaks of gray began to appear in my hair. The insult stopped. Her ghostly eyes started to fill with something that looked like regret. Leo, who had vanished, suddenly showed up at the hospital one day. He looked nervous, his face pale. Ava and I were both surprised to see him. He couldn't see her soul, of course. He sidled up to me, smiling awkwardly. "Ethan, hey, can you lend me some money? I know Ava's family is loaded." I just looked at him. "What for?" A predatory grin spread across his face. "Look, Ava's in a coma. There's no one else here, so I'll be straight with you. I'm trying to impress this rich girl, an heiress. I need some cash to look the part. Once we're married, I'll pay you back with her money." What kind of predatory bullshit was that? Ava's soul was stunned, her eyes blazing with fury. She clearly hadn't expected Leo to be this shameless. When I didn't answer, Leo grew agitated. "Ava's never going to wake up. Her family has a ton of money. Honestly, I came back to get you two to divorce, so I could get with her and get my hands on her fortune. I didn't expect her to be so damn useless she'd almost die from a little bungee jump. So pathetic." Ava's ghost lunged at him, screaming, scratching, biting, but she was just a soul. She couldn't touch him. "Leo, you bastard. You're disgusting. Why don't you just die?" she shrieked, her voice a storm of anger and regret, but Leo couldn't hear a thing. I just said, calmly, "I'm not lending you any money. Ava loved you so much. What you're doing is really hurting her." Leo laughed cruelly. "Loved? That was then. The person that bitch loves now is you. I asked her to divorce you countless times, but she refused. She was only doing that stupid bucket list with me to ease her guilt over the past. She was pitying me. Now she's in love with you, and she's a vegetable. Ha ha, serves her right." His words left both me and Ava's ghost completely stunned. I narrowed my eyes. Ava loved me? Her way of showing love was to run off with her ex-boyfriend on a series of insane adventures? To make up for past regrets? How twisted was that? I didn't give him the money. As he left, he smirked. "Good luck, Ethan. Ava's your burden now." I was already sick of her anyway. Crash! I grabbed the vase from a nightstand and hurled it at the door. Leo yelped and ran for his life. A choked sob echoed next to my ear. It was Ava, weeping. In all the years I'd known her, it was the first time I had ever heard her cry. Was it regret? Guilt? Helplessness? I didn't know. After that, I continued to care for her, growing more haggard by the day. Her mother couldn't stand to see it and insisted I take a break, go on a trip. I hired a private nurse and started planning. Ava's soul trailed beside me, her voice laced with resentment. "I'm a vegetable, and you have the nerve to go on vacation? They say even the most devoted son gets tired of caring for a sick parent. It's only been a few weeks, and you're already fed up? Don't you love me anymore? The once haughty Ava, who barely spared me a word, was now chattering in my ear nonstop. Her perspective seemed to be shifting, but it wasn't until my mother-in-law showed up with another woman that Ava truly broke. The girl's name was Chloe. She was my mother-in-law's assistant, taller than Ava, with a brighter complexion and arguably prettier. My mother-in-law smiled. Ethan, you were planning a trip, weren't you? Why don't you take Chloe with you? She's worked hard and deserves a vacation too. It's good for you young people to spend some time together. She gave me a subtle wink. Chloe stepped forward and shook my hand, her smile warm and genuine. Hi, Ethan. Hope I won't be any trouble. I instinctively glanced in Ava's direction. Her eyes were wide, her mouth trembling as she screamed into the void. No, Ethan. You're still a married man. Stay away from her. Looking at her hysterical, powerless form, I suddenly wanted her to feel exactly what I had been through. Seeing the panic on Ava's ghostly face, a grim satisfaction stirred within me. I nodded at my mother-in-law. Okay, Mom, we'll get going then. She nodded back, her eyes filled with relief. Ava's soul floated frantically around the room, her panicked gaze darting between me and Chloe. Chloe and I set off on our trip. Her cheerful, outgoing nature was like a breath of fresh air, slowly chipping away at the ice around my heart. We found ourselves in a historic little town with winding cobblestone streets and quaint, old-fashioned wooden storefronts. Chloe was fascinated by everything. One moment she was dashing into a little craft shop, the next she was standing on an old stone bridge, gazing at the creek flowing below, her eyes sparkling with excitement. As we walked, she spotted a bakery selling artisanal pastries and pulled me inside. The air was thick with the sweet smell of sugar and cinnamon. She happily pointed out different treats, asking me which one I thought looked best. I watched her, a genuine smile touching my lips for the first time in ages. You know, Ethan, she said softly, while carefully selecting a cronut, I've actually been paying attention to you for a while. I blinked, surprised. Oh, why's that? Chloe smiled. At the company, everyone knows how dedicated you are, how hard you work, but it was your devotion to your wife. That's what really impressed me. I gave a bitter shake of my head. None of that matters when someone's heart is stuck in the past. If they can't let go, it's all for nothing. Chloe looked down, her voice barely a whisper. I can't let go of some things either. But it seems like I might finally have my chance. I fell silent, unsure how to respond. From the sidelines, Ava was screaming, Ethan, don't listen to her. She's a manipulative bitch. What can't she let go of? You're a married man. I ignored her. Watching her seethe with the jealousy she herself had inflicted on me felt like a strange, dark justice. After buying the pastries, Chloe and I sat in the town square, enjoying the treats and the scenery. She told me about her dream to travel the world, to see different places and experience different cultures. Her passion was infectious, and I found myself opening up, sharing some of my own thoughts and experiences. Later, we found ourselves at the foot of a mountain. Staring up at the towering peak, Chloe showed no fear, only a desire for the challenge. We started the climb together. The trail was steep and rocky, but we helped each other along. At one point, she slipped, and I quickly reached out to steady her. She looked up at me, her eyes full of gratitude. Ava's soul swooped in, her voice cracking. Ethan, don't hold her hand. Please, you're my husband. Please. My expression didn't change. When you and Leo were all over each other right in front of me, did you ever once care about my feelings? When we finally reached the summit, the magnificent view spread out below us filled me with a sense of accomplishment. Chloe cheered, her smile as bright as the sun. Looking at her, a strange warmth spread through my chest. These past few years of marriage have been so exhausting. It felt good to finally have a moment of happiness that was just for me. Ava's soul trailed behind us the whole time, her face growing darker and darker. Watching Chloe and me laughing together, she would either stomp her feet in fury or stare at me with a look of pure sorrow. Ethan, how could you do this to me? Her voice echoed with despair. I'm your wife. I pretended not to hear, continuing to enjoy the rare peace with Chloe. Chloe seemed to sense something. Ethan, she asked gently, is there something on your mind? I paused for a second, then just shook my head. On the way down the mountain, a sudden, torrential downpour ambushed us. We took shelter in a small gazebo as rain hammered down, blurring the world around us. Chloe was a little scared, so I gently took her hand, telling her it would be okay. In that moment, our eyes met, and it felt like time stood still. After the rain stopped, we continued on our way, the muddy path not slowing us down. We had navigated a difficult trail together, and it brought us closer. Ava watched our every interaction, tears streaming from her ghostly eyes. Ethan, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong now. Please come back. Don't be with this woman. Ava's voice was hoarse with desperation. But I remained unmoved. I needed her to taste the same bitterness, the same regret she had forced me to swallow. When the trip ended, we returned to the city and the hospital. Ava's soul stuck to me like a shadow, her eyes pleading. Ethan, please don't leave me. I'll be good to you from now on. I'll never have anything to do with Leo again, she begged, her voice trembling. I was a stone wall. During this time, Chloe started visiting the hospital often, checking on both me and Ava's comatose form. Her kindness and warmth made me like her more and more. As Ava watched our bond grow, her despair intensified. Ethan, you can't fall in love with someone else. You promised you would love me forever, she cried out. A shadow passed over my heart. Ava, I thought to myself, you once promised to love me too. But what did you do? You hurt yourself for Leo. You pushed my buttons again and again. Why do you have to demand my love now? Days turned into weeks, and Ava's condition remained unchanged. But my feelings for Chloe were growing stronger. We started going out for dinner, to the movies, for walks in the park, enjoying our time together. Ava watched us, her spectral heart filled with anguish. She seemed to be reflecting on her past, regretting her foolishness and selfishness. She would often whisper in my ear how stupid and blind she had been. Ethan, I really know I was wrong. If you could just give me one more chance, I swear I'll cherish you. I'll love you with everything I have, she'd say, her voice thick with sincerity. Just then, the doctor came in with good news. After weeks of treatment, Ava's body was beginning to show signs of response. There was brain activity. This news elated both me and her mother. Ava's soul grew excited too. She knew she was getting a second chance. Ethan, she promised, her voice filled with hope. When I wake up, I will make everything up to you. I'll spend the rest of my life loving you. Just then my phone buzzed. I answered it, and my mother-in-law's frantic voice came through the line. Ethan, you're trending online. Confused, I opened up my phone. The internet was flooded with pictures of me and Chloe on our trip. The person who posted them had written a scathing caption. This guy Ethan is the biggest scumbag. His wife is in a coma, and instead of taking care of her, he's out having the time of his life with his mistress. This man deserves to be publicly shamed. The comments were a tidal wave of vitriol. This guy has no conscience. His wife is practically dead, and he has the nerve to go on vacation? It's disgusting. He probably wanted to dump her for a while now. This was the perfect excuse to get with his side piece. Men like him should be punished. I hope he lives with the guilt for the rest of his life. Chloe saw the posts, and her face went pale. Ethan, what are we going to do? We never thought this would happen. I was silent for a moment. Don't worry, I said. I'll handle it. I immediately called my lawyer to figure out a plan. He advised me to release a statement clarifying that Chloe and I were just friends and that the trip was arranged by my mother-in-law to help me de-stress. I also called my mother-in-law to apologize for the trouble this had caused her and her company. She didn't blame me at all. Ethan, don't pay any attention to these rumors. Just take care of yourself. Besides, I was the one who wanted to set you and Chloe up. I'll have the company release a statement to help you explain. I posted my statement, and the company posted theirs, confirming that my mother-in-law had arranged a trip for us as a much-needed break. But many people didn't buy it. The attacks on me and Chloe continued. Stop making excuses. The pictures are right there. Just friends? Yeah, right. You can't trust a guy like this. Something shady is definitely going on. Ava's soul watched all of this unfold, too shocked to speak. Seeing me get dragged through the mud by strangers online, she seemed to feel a pang of guilt. Honey, this is all my fault, she whispered. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't be in this mess. She wanted to help, but there was nothing she could do. Just let me wake up soon. I'll clear your name. Honey, I'm so sorry. I had a pretty good idea who the anonymous poster was. I sent a text to Leo, asking him to meet. We met at a quiet coffee shop. He sat across from me, a smug, triumphant look on his face. Didn't see that coming, did you, Ethan? He said with a malicious grin. I looked at him calmly, feeling no anger at all. It was you. Why would you do this? He shrugged, as if it were nothing. Simple. I need money. You give me $5 million, and I'll make the post disappear. I narrowed my eyes, my voice still even. And you think I'm just going to agree to that? Leo scoffed. You don't have a choice. Either you pay up, or you and that Chloe girl can enjoy being crucified online. Besides, it's not a big deal for you. Ava's family is loaded. You could just take a little from them. I looked at his greedy, repulsive face with pure disgust. Don't push it, Leo. Me? Pushing it, he laughed. What about you? You were out on vacation with another woman while your wife was in a coma. Who are you to talk? I took a deep breath. Let's talk about something else. I've always been curious. Why did you and Ava really break up back then? I saw Ava's ghost draw closer. She wanted to know, too. A mocking smile played on Leo's lips. While I was with Ava, I connected with this rich older woman. She was moving abroad, and I wanted to go with her. So I dumped Ava. Easy decision. As he spoke, Ava's soul just hovered there listening. She didn't scream or cry. Her expression was numb, her eyes as empty as a vacuum. The woman who was once so madly in love was now hearing the brutal truth, and she was utterly still, her heart already shattered into dust. Are you really that heartless? I asked him. Leo burst out laughing, as if I told the world's funniest joke. Heartless? In this world, money is the only thing that matters. Love? What's that? Ava was naive to think I'd love her forever. And you? You were just my replacement. If I hadn't left, do you really think she would have married you? Keep dreaming. I stared at his selfish, cruel face, my stomach turning. I admit, I was a replacement. But I'm not a monster like you, wrapped up in schemes and lies. You'll pay for what you've done, sooner or later. Huh, I'm not scared, he sneered. You should worry about coming up with that 5 million. Otherwise, things are going to get a lot worse for you. I stood up and looked down at him, my voice cold as ice. I'm not giving you a dime. I'll handle this my own way. And I walked out. Ava's soul followed silently behind me, a storm of pain, regret, and confusion swirling in her ghostly eyes. I knew she was in agony, but this was a mess of her own making. She had to face it. We walked down the street, the sun on my skin doing nothing to warm the chill in my heart. We were both silent, the air between us thick with unspoken words. After a long time, Ava finally broke the silence. Ethan, I was wrong. I was so stupid to let Leo fool me like that. Her voice was hoarse and trembling with regret. I didn't answer, just kept walking. I finally understand, she continued. The one who truly loved me was you. And I threw it all away for someone who wasn't worth it. I hurt you, and I destroyed our love. And Ethan, I admit, at first, you were just a stand-in. But later I really did fall in love with you. I don't want you to leave me. Her spectral tears flowed freely, dissipating into the air. I stopped walking and looked at her tortured form. The pain of the past couldn't be erased so easily, but seeing her so utterly broken, a part of me felt a flicker of pity. She was, after all, the woman I had once loved more than anything. Perhaps it was the sheer force of her will, her desperate need for a second chance. The day after my conversation with Leo, Ava miraculously woke up. When the hospital called, a wave of complex emotions washed over me. I rushed over and walked into her room to see her awake, her eyes open and fixed on me. They were filled with a radiant joy and hope, as if she had finally surfaced from a long and terrifying nightmare. But the peace didn't last. Leo, who must have gotten the news from somewhere, burst into the room. Babe, you're finally awake, he boomed, his face a mask of triumphant glee. All my sleepless nights of worrying finally paid off. He made it sound as if he alone had willed her back to consciousness. He strode to her bedside and reached for her hand, but Ava coolly pulled it away. He didn't seem to care, launching into his performance. Babe, you have no idea how worried I was. I've been praying for you this whole time. Now you're awake, and we can be together again. As he spoke, he shot a smug glance in my direction before launching his attack. Look at this guy. While you were in a coma, he wasn't even taking care of you. He was off on vacation with some tramp. It's all over the internet now. Everyone is trashing us. Even your mom's company is taking a hit. He doesn't love you. I'm the only one who truly loves you. Babe, you need to divorce him right now and be with me. His words were shameless and malicious, a desperate attempt to drive a wedge between us and pull her back into his orbit. He was smiling, certain his plan would work. I just stood there, watching his pathetic show, feeling nothing. I knew this wasn't the same Ava. After everything she had been through, everything she had seen, she knew exactly who Leo Vance really was. Ava listened to his entire speech with a placid, almost bored expression. Her eyes were cold as she waited for him to finish. Then, she spoke a single word. Get out. The word hit the room like a thunderclap. Leo froze, his smug expression collapsing in disbelief. He stared at Ava, desperately searching her face for any sign of doubt or weakness. All he found was ice. Babe, how can you say that to me? I really do love you. I'm the one who's been taking care of you all this time. You can't just use me and throw me away. Leo pleaded, his voice cracking. Ava's brow furrowed in disgust. Your so-called love is just about money, isn't it? Leo, I see you for what you are. Stop bothering me. His face went pale, but he wasn't done. He leaned in closer, his voice urgent. Ava, what about our bucket list? I've been here day and night waiting for you to wake up, so we could finally finish it together. She looked at him with utter contempt. Go finish your bucket list with your rich old lady, or your new heiress. The sight of you makes me sick. Leo looked as if he'd been punched in the gut. He stared at her, speechless. You? How did you know? Ava let out a cold laugh. Did you really think I wouldn't find out what you were planning? Leo, I've seen your selfishness and your greed up close. From now on, I don't want to see your face ever again. Oh, and by the way, the baby I lost. It was yours. You were with me on that bungee platform. That makes you a killer, too. He just stood there dumbfounded. I had secretly recorded my entire conversation with Leo at the coffee shop. I knew he wouldn't go down without a fight, and I figured the recording might come in handy. Now, I posted it online. Ava also recorded a short video from her hospital bed, confirming she was awake and asking people to stop slandering me, explaining that Chloe was just a colleague and a friend. Once we released everything, the narrative flipped instantly. The internet saw Leo for the parasite he was. The comments turned on him. This Leo guy is unbelievable. He'll do anything for money. Ethan is the real victim here, framed by this total scumbag. So glad Ava saw the truth about him. Suddenly, I was the long-suffering, loyal husband again. A few days later, news broke that Leo had been having an affair with a married woman. Her husband caught them and beat Leo so badly he was paralyzed from the waist down. When I heard the news, I felt no satisfaction, only a sense that he had finally gotten what he deserved. After she recovered, Ava was relentless in her attempts to get back together. She pleaded with me every single day. Ethan, I know I was wrong. Please, just give me one more chance. I'll be so good to you. I'll never be so selfish again. Her eyes were always filled with tears, her voice raw. I truly regret everything. I was so lost, so obsessed with Leo. You were the one who loved me, and I didn't appreciate it. I see that now. You're the only one who was ever truly good to me. She would grip my hand tightly, as if terrified I would vanish. Her mother, knowing Ava was clinging to me, decided to intervene. She came to the hospital, and she brought Chloe with her. When my mother-in-law walked into the room, her expression was calm but resolute. Chloe followed behind her, looking a little shy and anxious. My mother-in-law gently took Chloe's hand and placed it in mine. She looked at me, her voice full of encouragement. Son, from now on, I won't interfere in your life. As for Ava, I'll take care of her. She sighed, a hint of weariness in her eyes. Ava was stunned, her face flushed with anger. Mom, how could you? Why are you pushing Ethan away? I love him. I can't live without him, she cried out, her voice breaking. Her mother looked at her calmly. Ava, you did so many things to hurt him. Now that you're awake, you think everything can just go back to the way it was? Is that fair? Ethan has the right to choose his own life. You can't be so selfish. Ava bit her lip, tears streaming down her face. Mom, I know I was wrong. I really do. I'll be so good to Ethan. Please, don't give him to someone else. Chloe, meanwhile, was blushing furiously, her head bowed. She tried to gently pull her hand away, as if wanting to escape the intensely awkward scene. But her mother held it firmly in mine. My mother-in-law looked at me one last time. Son, think about it. Whatever you choose, I'll support you. With that, she took a still sobbing Ava and left the room. It was just me and Chloe. The silence was heavy. Chloe finally looked up, meeting my eyes. Her own were clear and steady. Ethan, she said, her voice firm. I like you. I held her hand a little tighter, and a small, real smile formed on my face. Funny, I said. Me too. The end.